It's time for Gardening Inside Out, a live show offering you plant advice for any space in your life. Introducing your perennial hosts, David Bates and Josh Carey.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. It's Saturday morning. It means it's time for Gardening Inside Out. I think I'm going to prefer to be inside today, though, David Bates, because it's a little chilly here at Bates Hollow. But the Green Room Studios
it feels
is
worse
nice.
than what it is.
Yeah,
Our blood has all gotten
Thin?
somewhat thinned by the warm temperatures this week,
Oh,
and
man.
we've got a night or two of cooler temps, but soon, like immediately, it's going to warm back up. Let's just get straight into that.
Okay.
We'll discuss what's going on with the weather, and then we'll proceed with the rest of the program today. It's the 17th of February. Of course, this is Saturday morning, 8 a.m., 38 degrees for the high today. So, yes, quite a departure from what it has been this past week, where the weather has been wonderful. Overnight low of 21 degrees. So, everyone needs to be aware of that. Probably don't have anything that's of much consequence as far as what could possibly be damage due to cold weather, but do be mindful of it. We've had a good run here where it has been very mild. So we got a night of it, 50 and 27 tomorrow with sunshine, and warming temperatures continue on into Monday, 58, 34, 63, 42 on Tuesday, 68, 50 on Wednesday. Rain moves back in on Thursday, maybe 0.4 of an inch thereabouts, 67, 41, and on Friday, 54, 32, and partly cloudy conditions. And remarkably, I don't know if this means anything or not. It looks like sunshine for next Saturday and 55 degrees, very seasonable temperatures. We did get some precipitation overnight. 41 hundredths in the event yesterday afternoon. And as you all recall, the temperature swiftly dropped. 20 degrees, seemingly instantly. We've had a couple of inches of rain here at Bates Nursery Weather Station for the week. We're up to 3.6 for the month and over 8 inches for the year. And it is currently about 29 degrees here in the Music City. So we're all here, all present, and we're ready to answer all the questions you may have with regard to your gardening efforts. But you know, Josh, we don't do it alone.
No.
We have these capable affiliate members here on our side. Caroline,
affiliate members?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Tyler Blankenship, of course, straight out across the way there. And he's the one who keeps us all rolling here. Good morning, Tyler.
There he
There he is.
Good morning.
Tyler Cam jumps in this morning. Yeah. So we are prepared to make this little brief transition back to winter. Boom, he ducked out. You see that? He had to hold his nose to do it.
Tyler's in a t-shirt and a scarf. I love the wardrobe choice today.
You guys, I'm fancy.
You're so fancy. I'm always impressed by your fashion.
I'm wearing like 12 shirts and you're in a t-shirt.
Well, there's heat in this room.
Hashtag built different.
True.
That's the layered effect. But we are really happy to be here this morning and to be talking about what is going on in your garden. And we invite you in, as always, to send those questions in over our social media connections while we're on the air. You can do that at Gardening Inside Out at our Facebook page, also at Instagram. We have, if you subscribe to the weekly newsletter that I write, there are links in there every week, including our email, gardeninginsideout@gmail.com. So you can do that.
That's actually probably the best way to send pictures, okay? Because when we roll up on the messenger, we see them, but it's a little daunting to try to get them over to Tyler. So in case we wanted to feature them on the show, so
those go straight to Tyler, correct?
Yes,
Tyler,
they
go to Caroline, Josh, and myself. Yeah. So one of us.
So we will get them.
We will get
between
them.
the three of us. I think we can handle it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Austin, you're pretty quiet over there, man. What's going on with you?
Not much. we decorated the studio today, and Caroline will get to what's in the room here in a little while, but I think the theme this week is in our Batrium, which is what we call our covered area that we have a lot of our plants in. It got warm this week, y'all, and things started to wake up a little. So me and Caroline decided this week we're going to bring in some things that are just starting to leaf out. So we got some things in here that are starting to leaf, and we kind of wanted to tell y'all, like, hey, if you come out today, you can certainly buy things, and you can buy things that have leaves on them, but be careful about tonight. Those tiny little leaves that you see will probably be damaged. Yes, tender is the word for sure.
And they need to go back over there into the area towards the back. And it comes out to the side door there. There's some little baby Ito peonies in some pots. They've just got their little heads all poking up out of the dirt. I bet they're gonna be gorgeous too.
They will, but they've been covered this whole winter, right? So they've been protected. So if you do buy stuff today that does have little tiny leaves,
keep it in the house.
Gosh, Tyler, so close.
So close. Please don't do that to any of us.
Hot shot.
Just be mindful of that. So that's kind of what's on my mind for this week and for the next couple of days.
Tyler's on a roll this morning. We're going to call him Butter over there. On a roll.
And what you're saying, Austin, is true for folks. We have obviously had a run of really warm weather. And because of that, even with the ventilation and all that we have in our building, it still gets warmer in there than it is outside because it's been pretty warm outside.
It was pleasant in there this morning because it blocks the wind.
Things tend to progress at a little advanced pace that are inside. Now, we're going to begin moving things outdoors starting this coming week. We have held up intentionally to try to let this cold spell get beyond us, but that process does begin in earnest this coming week. So as you come out in the coming days, you'll see more and more plant material back out on the open lot, and it will all be inside. But today, if you come out, you're definitely going to see everything pretty much is still indoors aside from shade trees and large conifers. You can come in and shop. You'll have to be out in the cold. We'll help you get that all done. And we'll also make sure you're mindful if you're buying some things that have got a little tender growth on them to maybe stick them in the garage or keep them up close to the house for a night or two till we get past this cold spell.
And folks, they've got just a sample in here in the studio this morning of the hellebores. Oh my goodness. More colors than you can imagine. And they're all healthy and beautiful, and it's particularly good winter for them. So
really,
and a big shout out to Caroline for getting me some video this week of the hellebores. Thank you for that, Caroline. Do appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
That turned out really nice, and I think it does give a really great little show of all the variety we've got, and you guys did a great job of it. And Tyler, additionally, of getting the audio matched up with what video she shot there. So really, if you haven't seen that, you either go out to our YouTube pages on Gardening Inside Out. It may be on Bates Nursery also, but certainly if you subscribe to the newsletter, it's right there in an embedded link in there. So check that out.
I think it was all Caroline matching the audio.
I matched that audio. I did it all.
She gets all the credit.
Excellent. Good job, Caroline. Thank you for that.
It was fun. So if you watched that video, you heard Austin talk about how he's so annoyed by hellebore blooms turning down. Or if you've been watching this broadcast for the last few weeks, you've definitely heard him talk about that. So today in studio, yes, we've brought in a lot of hellebore, but I do want to feature some that are down in front because these are turned up.
Yes.
They are actually.
They're the ones showing
Tyler's
Austin
coming up
his
higher.
proper respect.
Yes.
They're
up
looking
high.
you straight in the eye, Austin.
Tyler,
Down to
we
black.
lost it. We went to black.
They are shade loving plants.
They are shade loving plants, but I know we have talked
Heavy
about
shade,
how they do have some that turn up now, and I found one that is pointed straight up.
It is.
Oh, there it is.
There it is, right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Towards the ceiling or towards the skies if we were outside. So
You know.
now Austin's going to have to plant a hellebore.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have enough shade for hellebore. I'll cook them.
Oh,
Just
you've
cook
got
'em.
shade.
No,
you
I
have some
don't.
woods. Just plant them in the woods.
Austin,
There you
you
go.
literally you have your Sun King Aurelia on the north side of your house.
I know, but that
Put 'em
one
around
can
that.
handle more sun. That bed gets more sun than I think it
Is
does.
that the north side?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, and it gets roasted. Yeah, you don't have a
It
lot
gets
of shade.
hot back there.
You need to plant some big trees.
Big tree. It's right next to my house.
Just cover your house with trees.
I've had the woods. I don't need big trees.
He's still trying to work through that boxwood deficit from
No. How are your
previous
boxwoods?
year. So that was a big outlay right there.
Yes.
You had to, you're overcoming Mother Nature, and that's something I think that pretty much everyone can identify with. Is that there's some expense involved, particularly from the not this winter, but the previous winter when we had that severe freeze. So we've had even though we've had some winter this year, but it hasn't been so severe. We've had enough snow cover to provide protection. So things at this stage really look like they're going to come through in much better fashion than what we have experienced last year.
Hey, on that note, can we go? Let's go ahead and go to questions now.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Because Ken Zacard had one, and he says, I have a 3 Abelia kaleidoscope that survived last winter, but have recently dropped most of their leaves. Will they bloom from the old wood, or must they be pruned back?
Either way, they're going to bloom. So don't worry about that. If they're defoliated and they're too big for you, go ahead and give them a haircut. I mean, it doesn't matter really with Abelia. They're an extremely hardy plant, and they do lose their leaves some winters. It happens. We kind of call them semi-evergreen. Okay. Not perfectly evergreen all the time. So they definitely deserve a haircut. Get them balled back up, nice and tight, and they'll flush nice and tight, and they'll bloom for you on old wood, new wood, doesn't matter. Wood, it's gonna bloom. So don't worry so much, but they're very, very hardy. Really good plant, really good foliage plant as well.
All right, let's talk about Distilium while we're on this freeze topic.
Another one that's very similar to Abelia.
My Distilium is not looking great after the frost. Will it come back? I am new to this plant, is what they have to say.
Okay. And a lot of people are somewhat new to Distilium. It's a broadleaf evergreen that kind of looks like laurel. It's a good kind of substitute for laurel. It's got a wider growth habit typically than laurel does, with depending. There's a certain cultivar that kind of goes more upright. But once again, very similar to Abelia, and it's a semi-evergreen plant. It's not one that will keep its leaves every single year, but they do crack new leaves typically every single spring, okay? So if you lose your leaves or it's looking a little rough right now, just kind of don't look at it. Don't look at it. It's a little rough right now. But in the spring, like I said, it should crack new leaves and look nice.
All right.
And they are definitely more susceptible to freeze and tip dieback than many broadleaf plants. And so it's kind of going to be what goes with them when we have these more severe winters. You can expect that if it's a milder winter, you may not see any damage at all. But semi-broadleaf plants such as Abelia, Nandina, Distilium, all those kinds of plants are hold their leaves through milder winters, and they will lose much of it during more severe weather.
It's funny you mentioned Nandina, David. Nandina this year, a lot of even just regular old heavenly bamboo Nandina, they've dropped their leaves again.
Wow.
It happened again with them this year. Not all of them, and not necessarily like Firepower is kind of that dwarf variety that you know of. I haven't noticed them losing leaves all that much.
But I think the snow cover really added a lot of insulation.
Good point for the Firepower.
The upright varieties that were not covered, they definitely have defoliated substantially.
Yeah, David, yours next to your house here on property, they do not have leaves right now.
Wow.
I noticed it this morning as I was driving in. They gone, but they're coming back. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, those Nandina will be just fine. All right, another winter question. My prickly pear cactus slumped over during winter. Can it be saved? Yes, it can. Mine kind of does this every winter. Part of it is from the weight of those pads. So if it's getting some height, once we get that freeze, they're not quite as strong because they start to kind of suck everything in, I guess is the easiest way to say it, and they will slump over a little bit. So what you can do, you can stake it up if you want, or just put something to lean it. And then as summer comes in, as the weather gets warm and the sun stays up for longer, they'll get strong again and look healthy. But I do kind of let mine slump over because what has happened is I've got a grove of prickly pear now. So as they've come over, the new growth will start coming up. And they'll keep, like an ocean wave, they'll keep coming down and up. But absolutely, it can be saved. this is kind of just what they do, especially if we do get really, really cold. But it is more than fine, and it's going to be all right.
I think so
be
too
okay.
with prickly pear. It seems like we stay so wet over the wintertime that it's like cactus doesn't need all that much water, so it's like they still use it. It seems like, and then they like fill themselves with moisture is almost what it seems like to me, and then they're so heavy and they kind of turn down is what it.
It's a water weight.
They kind of get like that winter depressed weight gain.
They're just sad right now. They're going to sleep. They're taking a little nap.
They get kind of wrinkly.
They get a little wrinkly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They kind of shrivel up a little
Yeah.
bit, and then their base isn't as strong, so they'll start to lay over. Some years mine don't do that, but most years they do. And like I said, you can prop up something to get them to stand up. When summer comes around, they'll get strong again, or just let it be.
Just let it be.
Just let it go.
Let it go. Sam Boyette wants to know, will Laura Pedalum come back if it lost its foliage?
Hey Sam,
Yeah.
maybe. That's Laura Pedalum. Another one of a broadleaf evergreen that is semi-evergreen. And this year is no different.
It's less hardy than Distylium.
But there's a lot of them. Go ahead, David.
If it was a true ground, I'm sorry about that. If it was a true ground cover type, chances are it'll be okay but if it's a more upright grower, it's going to have dead on top. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
And that's going to always be the case on those. They, even in milder winters, are going to get some. They're not an extremely hardy plant here Sam and all others who use them do so with, you have to do so with a degree of caution, Josh.
But mine came back from that.
They're really nice. They give you some nice color at a time when maybe other things are not flowering, but the penalty you pay is dieback almost every winter.
That's the exact word is dieback. You don't necessarily see death or dying or anything, but you do see dieback almost every year.
And they get a bit big too. So I mean,
some
of them can't, but not too bad. The varieties that I've got, but mine came back last year. So
a number of them did too. I was pretty surprised. Me and Adam Chapman actually talked. Our general manager here, we talked about that, and we were almost fairly certain that Laura Pedalum was going to pretty much kick it last year. But a lot of them did come back. And, we talk about it. The best Laura Pedalum out there is kind of the ugliest one.
Oh, wow.
It's like an off purple to green. It's not like that true purple. It's not that true green. It's somewhere in between. And it's kind of, to me, it's not all that. It's that. But they tend to live, and they can get big. But you still certainly see dieback from the top down a little bit. But thanks, Sam. Good to hear from you.
If your daughter runs over them going down the driveway, they don't come back. Okay.
They don't bounce back. All right, we got a is it too late question.
Here we go.
Is it too late to relocate an arborvitae?
No. It's not. It's getting there.
It's getting there.
But it's not yet. Now, as we talked about a number of times, arborvitae is a very shallow-rooted plant. No matter if it's a shrub or a tree or whatever, it does not have deep root system at all. So if you do transplant this now, make sure you soak it, y'all, and then watch it this summer. If this summer we turn droughty at all, we have a period of like 2 weeks of no rain or something, you're going to have to water it. So if you're going to do it now. Get it out of the way and keep it moist.
Yeah, they go over there and dig the hole where it's going to be transplanted to first. That way you minimize the amount of time that it's out of the ground. Dig that hole first, get the soil prepared, then dig your other one out of the ground, move it straight into it, backfill it, water it immediately. It doesn't matter if it rained yesterday. The initial watering is most important for settling out, getting all the air pockets out of the soil. So water it in thoroughly, perhaps as many as 2 or 3 times, and then it'll be good to go. This is still a great time for doing transplanting, but the clock is running. We are rapidly running out of time, and it will soon be time to stop doing that.
Yes.
Josh.
All right, so how about when do I transplant peonies? Speaking of transplanting, when is the best time?
Better get them.
Once again,
3:30. Y'all haven't even
3:30.
thrown out the time today. Something's wrong with everybody.
Yeah, it's time, y'all. You got to do it. You got to get on doing it now. David talked about it last week. Whenever things are actively growing, actively pushing is one of the worst times to try to transplant things. It's just stressful. It's just stressful on the new foliage that's coming up. So if you're going to do it, your peonies out around town probably have not started pushing yet. They have started pushing in our greenhouse, but not around town.
No.
So
I usually
get them
transplant
moved.
mine in the fall.
Yeah, like late fall and really anytime during dormancy.
Yeah, when they're sleeping. You know, I was looking, I like to walk around my garden beds and kind of pull leaves back to see what might be starting to come up, and then I'll recover them. But my Ito is starting to push out about 1.5 inches up the base of the plant on the old wood. And they're about yay big, like 1/2 inch. I was a little surprised to see them, but very excited about it.
Nice.
Okay.
And the
color are
Itos are, of course, the best of all peonies.
Yes.
And they are a cross between a tree peony and an herbaceous type of peony. So what that means is that they have stuff sticking up above the ground even when they're dormant, which makes it easier to transplant them and identify where they are. But they are decidedly less problematic. The downside to them is they cost a lot more. They're not an inexpensive plant. But they are worth it. If you're going to have peonies, Ito is the one to consider. And if you're going to consider planting anything, Josh,
What's that?
we know what we like to recommend. It's called Earth Mix Garden Products.
Absolutely.
And when you use Earth Mix, when you're planting, and it doesn't matter what you're planting, Earth Mix Garden Products gives you a 100% organic approach to planting the things in your garden. It is the most viable and productive media available anywhere. You know, we like to say success begins at the ground level, and we want plants to not just hang on and survive. We want them to thrive. And that's what Earth Mix Garden Products gives you. It does so without any chemical additives. It's all the best things that Mother Nature provides, except done so in abundance. And the Earth Mix entire line of products, from supernatural to garden to landscape, Proganics O, Caroline will talk about Proganics I. One thing, they all are 100% organic. There's no peat in any of them. Many of the products have coconut coir in them, which is a more sustainable product. Best of all, they are available at the finest retailers all around Middle Tennessee, Kentucky, Northern Alabama. Go out to earthmix.net, click on the Find Earth Mix tab, and once you're there, it will bring you to a map that shows you all the pins around all the different locations around. There are many. Simply zoom in to one nearest you. I think our newest ones are down. There's Rudy's down in Killen, Alabama, and we're really glad to have some retailers in Northern Alabama representing the Earth Mix line of products. Support them and others in the entire network. Just remember this: success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix Garden Products. And we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that and helping us to help you to have success in your garden by taking the work out of it. You know, your success rate will be substantially increased when you use Earth Mix products. Any one of the line, check them out all over the locations we just mentioned.
Absolutely.
So, thanks.
Truth. You spoken there, David Bates. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my.
Are we ready for more questions?
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Are
think
we ready?
so. We're ready.
Okay.
We're awake. We've got coffee. We're ready.
Okay.
Is it too early to divide perennials such as sedums and asters? If so, when would you do these jobs?
All right.
Okay.
Once again,
We're still on this topic.
We're doing this during dormancy if we can help it, y'all. Now, dividing asters is kind of seems funny to me. Like, when I think of dividing, I think of like irises and daylilies and those things that like kind of clump out. Asters don't really do all that. Asters more of just a transplant, right? I mean,
I've never divided asters.
you don't divide them because they don't grow from divisions, really. Like, so I would say that's just a straight up dig up and move rather than divide. I guess sedum you could kind of divide. And
no, I am thinking like
almost.
my Stokes aster. Is that actually an aster though? Because that one would be divided.
That one could be.
Mine's
but
getting
that's
big
not,
and chunky, but it's not.
That's not an aster at
but
all.
that could be what they're talking about, perhaps.
Maybe.
But like we've talked about already, dormancy, y'all. That's the time to do it.
Get on it.
Get on it, everybody. Stuff is starting to
We're
crack.
running
Like
out.
we're talking about. We're going to take a shift over to vines. We got quite a few vining questions today. All right. First up is native vine to grow along a chicken run,
Tell
coral
'em, Caroline.
honeysuckle, or passion flower. So those are the two they're are asking about. I know that I talk a lot about my passion flower that I have at my house, but if you did the native passion flower, that one would be great, I would say. Just don't get the one that I
Does it
planted.
matter what kind of chickens are in the run? No? Maybe?
They'll probably eat on it.
Yeah.
Probably will. I don't know.
I
Chickens
wonder-
kind
a
of peck
lot of
on
chickens.
anything. I got like 11 chickens. They seem to peck on anything. So
I wonder if they would peck the
the maypops.
well, yeah, because the seeds have like kind of a sedative effect.
Oh,
a
calm
very
those
calming
chickens down.
effect. So if you find that your chickens are more chill,
Tranquil.
that might be them eating the seeds of the pod. I mean, you could just like pop the pods off, as they fruit if you don't want them to.
Hey,
have
man,
those.
that dude's got some really chill chickens. Wow, yeah.
Austin, you should try that and see how it
Makes
affects your
tryptophan
chicken.
look like candy, David.
I guess if the run is if it's wired and protected from predators and it's grown on top of it, it's probably not a big deal.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's
coral-
beautiful.
It is.
Really?
A passion flower has literally probably the coolest bloom on the planet.
Yeah,
Yes.
it looks like an alien.
It looks
bloom.
like it looks like it's from a different planet. It really does. It's super cool. So
It's incredible.
cool flowering plant. And hey, coral honeysuckle, nothing wrong with that either.
Nope.
It grows like a weed around here. That's kind of Vine's MO, y'all. They're vining. They're taking off. That's what they
are.
do.
Vines are great. I will mention one more. I talk about it all the time,
Here we
but
go.
crossvine. That one's great. It's
Crossvine.
also a native.
Crossvine.
It's evergreen. I love it. Ben Trust here at our nursery loves it as well.
I love it.
It's also not toxic, so it should be a good option. Second
Hey.
question. Oh,
Oh, you mentioned Ben Trest. Jane Gibbs said, watch the Ben Trest Boot Camp Camellia video this week via the link on David's email. What an amazing video. Thank you, Bates, for helping us gardeners with our growing success.
Hey.
Bravo, Ben.
Yes.
nice.
Good
And
job,
I'm
Ben.
going
Perfect.
to try to make a concerted effort to feature. We have such a wealth of information on our website and through our Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp that I have sometimes am a little remiss. I get
Busy.
into Josh to going down the storyline on something that maybe doesn't have as much to do with gardening,
Well-
just because that's the way I am. But I'm gonna, I know this is springtime. Everybody's really keyed in on it. I'm gonna try to be keyed in on it myself and to also help everyone know that we're here about dispensing information to help you have success in gardening, and we just have a plethora of it out there. So stay tuned, and thanks for subscribing to my newsletter.
Yep.
And for tuning into all the various channels, the various means that we have to engage with you. Whichever one works best for you, we try to accommodate.
Yep.
So thank
I'll
you for that.
just jump in here and say that Ben did a webinar this week on ornamental garden planning. That one will be available soon, but there's one that's already on the Bates YouTube page. It's called Edible Garden Planning. That was done 2 weeks prior, and it's really great. It gets you in that headspace of, where you want to put your vegetables and how you want to lay out your beds. Ben's very organized, structured like that.
He is.
Very good.
Ben
Very
is
good.
great.
And I will be certainly featuring those in the weeks ahead as we really get a little bit closer. It's great food for thought for people who are in preparation mode, but you can't actually be doing most of those things yet because still just a little bit early. We're going to get there,
It's
though.
the
We're getting
middle
closer
of
every day.
February, people. Okay, so
Yeah. But
So-
if you're, the whole prep is such a good point. Even if you're itching to get this done, but you're not ready to buy yet because it's a little early for some of these things, you can still come out and chat with us and show
Yes.
us some pictures of your bed, and we can give you some design ideas.
You guys are here anyway,
We're
right?
here
Yeah.
anyway. We'll
Right.
chat with you. I'll chat to you about plants any time of day, even at 3:30.
Yeah,
I'll
great.
do it.
That's that's planning time.
That's
3:30.
right.
That's crazy.
And grab
But-
some supernatural to put on those beds and while you're going.
There you go.
while
That's
you're
what a
out
great
here.
point. What a
Yes.
great point. Even if you don't buy plants today, buy some compost to put down to help your plants when you are ready to plant.
Yeah.
But I love helping out with designs and seeing beds, and just even if you don't know where to start at all, you've got just grass and you want to make it a bed.
Yep.
Come out, chat with us. We'll tell you how to get that done and what kind of shape and all that. It's just fun to chat about that.
It's
So
fun to
let's
talk.
get that prep going.
But let's keep
Fun to
chatting
answer questions,
about
too.
vines, y'all.
Yep.
Let's get back on it. This one is
Okay.
fun. Crossvine versus clematis. Oh, crossvine
You
is
guys
my
are gonna
favorite
fight.
vine.
No way.
Clematis is
No
Austin's
way.
favorite.
Not a chance. Crossvine, not a chance over clematis.
So many chances. How
Nope.
about it's native? It stays green through the winter, so it makes great privacy. It has year-round interest. Mine is purple right now.
I would say grurple.
purple.
Green
it's
purple.
like a dark. It turns goth in the winter. How about that? It's wonderful. In
You
the
and your
spring,
I have to,
it's a
I have to
cascade
say
of
I'm
blooms.
with Caroline on this argument because
Oh,
Thank you, David.
David.
I do believe that the fact that it is a native and that it is a broadleaf, it's really the only broadleaf flowering vine that there is in our area. So they are much slower growing. Frankly, there are applications where a clematis is too much. It just overgrows the area. So if you're looking for something that can handle a little more shade, that will retain its foliage year round and still flower, crossvine bignonia is your choice.
Not
is.
little nonia, big nonia.
Big
Right.
nonia. But like David said, I mean, it can grow in shade. It can grow in sun. It's very easy to maintain. There's no runners. Look at Austin right now.
Y'all are killing me.
Y'all plant crossvine. You won't be disappointed.
Oh, yeah.
Austin, too much low.
Not clematis, only the most beautiful
All right,
flowering
let's-
vine on the planet.
Let's listen to Austin's side of this.
It's clematis. Any color you want for the most part. Two-tone colors sometimes, blooms in the shade or the sun, and is adorned with blooms like all the time almost. It almost
You look
never
passionate
stops.
right
I am.
Hey, Joan wants to know about clematis.
Well, let's go. I'd
Okay.
say it's time.
She said, "I have one to be I have one that is determined to be a ground cover. I'm wondering if I cut it back so I can train the new growth to climb the trellis that's beside them. They get full sun, but feed in the shade."
Of course. Y'all,
Yes.
think about this. Any vine without a trellis or something to climb up is a ground cover. If it has nothing to climb up, it's going to run across the ground. I mean, that's pretty much all vines. So if they're like a native vine, it pops up in the woods or something, it's close to a tree, it's going to run up that tree if it can. But if it has nothing around it, it's going to run on the ground. So yours has been doing that, I'm assuming. If you want to train it up, of course, train it up. And yeah, cut all of it back if all the old growth is down on the ground or
And
whatever.
warn it at that time. You are going to climb
Yes.
this trellis.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So
Gonna do
put a
that.
trellis close, train it to go up.
Austin,
It'll go up.
clematis doesn't
And-
really climb itself, right? I mean,
You don't have to train it. It wants to do it.
Well,
It's going to grow towards the sun.
I mean, mine really didn't.
I
pick
think
up
what
at
you
all.
mean, Ty, it's not a self-clinging vine.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
it doesn't have like tendrils that really grab onto things. So
Crossvine is.
crossvine is. You're right. Yeah.
If you provide a structure, it will grow, like some kind of a trellis, some kind of a thing for it to wrap around. It will grow up, and you don't have to do, quote, training.
No, not all that much. I mean, just to get it started, you might have to, at the base or whatever when it first starts, like get it pinned there or whatever. But then after that, it's running up through. I've got
Once
5
you do,
clematis. Yeah, they just kind of intertwine and go up and do what they do.
They do what?
And they do that.
They definitely climb on
Get the
themselves.
hands going.
So is that your argument for clematis?
What?
Is that it?
That's
That's all you got?
Closing
What do you mean
statement.
it's all-
Closing
God.
statements, yeah.
Peggy Akers says crossvine.
Yay,
man.
Peggy.
Okay.
Peggy. Y'all don't even know.
I
Y'all
will.
don't even know.
Okay, I will say I love them both. I obviously like crossvine better. I have better luck with crossvine. I've planted a few clematis and they've died, but I think I planted them in the wrong spot.
Uh-oh.
You don't have
say.
to choose.
You could do
can-
both.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just
You don't
not
have to.
together. Clematis deserves the better spot.
Yes.
You know, I'm just gonna let you have that because we all know the truth right now.
I would
so.
not plant them together either.
No, that would be quite a weird planting. Let's keep going with vines. Recommendation for heat-loving vines to grow on a trellis with all-day sun exposure.
Okay. There's a number of them that'll work for that. I know, Josh, you're a fan of wisteria. I mean, make sure you have an excellent trellis for wisteria if you're going to grow it. Carolina
Steel
jessamine.
structure.
Yeah. Yeah, we talk about
Trumpet
that.
creeper.
Yeah, winter creeper's fine.
And the trumpet creeper is what I was.
Trumpet
what
creeper,
was
sorry. I
saying.
thought you said winter creeper. What did I just say? The yellow one. Gelsemium.
Gelsinium.
Carolina Jessamine.
Carolina
Carolina
jessamine.
jessamine.
Yes.
I've got that right now. I'm about to move it. Oh,
Of course you are.
But it is an all-day sun.
For me, wisteria takes too long to get established where you get the blooms. I mean, it's a beautiful foliage, but I mean, the bang is those grapevines and the smell that comes off of the blooms. There's nothing that smells better than wisteria in the spring.
Yeah. It's gorgeous. I mean, like you said, once it's established, which will take a long time. It's
and then
stunning.
it takes over the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful with
And
it.
then everyone has it everywhere.
Yes.
But
It'll pop up 30 feet out in the yard.
Yeah. You've also got honeysuckle. You've also got crossvine.
Crossvine. Yeah. I wasn't going to say it, but you've also
No,
got
I
that.
like crossvine. I don't want to. I don't want to say I don't like crossvine. I love that it's native. I love that it's got the fall and winter color. It's evergreen. It's blooms. It's all great. Trust me, it is. Is it clematis good?
No.
Next question.
Yes. Native ground cover to replace vines along a ditch.
Oof.
What do y'all got?
What kind of vines were growing in the ditch?
The
ground
native
cover.
word is the part that's hard to quantify. Is it
Right.
really native? Is it
I know. Native ground cover.
Blocks? maybe?
almost all the ground covers are non-natives?
Yeah.
Well,
Now
Trying to think of a native.
there are things to consider that are a little more ruly in that they don't overgrow the areas. For instance, a purple leaf winter creeper or winter creeper euonymus coloratus, all the same thing. They can be quite invasive. You never want to plant those in an area where they are adjacent to a woodland area. Same holds true with any of the ivies. They are. It can be extremely invasive if not responsibly kept. That's the problem that occurs with those is people plant them and they want to just forget about them and let them go, and then they can take over in native woodland areas. So you do not want to do that. There are things that are more on the shade tolerant side, such as purple leaf winter creeper, or winter creeper not winter creeper euonymus, but vinca minor is what I'm trying to say.
I thought you were going there.
And those are, while they're not necessarily native, they don't really overgrow anything. Now, it's true that in heavy shade areas they can really get established, but they're not aggressive. They won't grow up trees. They're comparatively easy to control. So, you can actually get in there where if they've overgrown the area and dig them out and manage it pretty easily. You can't do that with winter creeper euonymus. It's too invasive.
Yeah.
It's not quite kudzu invasive, but it's not far from it.
I really am curious. What kind of vines were there? I'm wondering what was
also sun or shade.
Yeah.
Usually ditches are exposed in the elements.
It may have been
If it's next to a woodland.
trumpet vine? or something?
maybe a honeysuckle seed, probably more so. I mean, honeysuckles everywhere around here.
Like the invasive honeysuckle.
Yeah, well, that one, but also the vining honeysuckle that's native.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's keep going, shall
Miriam
we?
says ajuga.
Yeah, I like ajuga. I don't think it's native. I thought about
I don't
ajuga a
think
second
so.
ago. I mean, it's
Yeah.
pretty, but I don't think it's a true native to here, but it prefers a little shade itself. I mean, honestly, ajuga can pretty much live almost anywhere. I've observed ajuga in good amount of sun on a hillside, and it was doing fine. So that's pretty. It's got pretty foliage, and it's got a blue bloom. I mean, it's actually like pretty true blue,
Wow.
so that's cool. Ajuga.
That's neat.
And there
Hey,
are a lot of different cultivars of ajuga.
A lot.
Different foliages and all. So, it's an interesting plant.
So Paige, who obviously has been watching the broadcast this morning, listened to what we had to say and emailed the Gardening Inside Out email.
Nice.
She's got a question about her limelight hydrangeas. So finally, we're to our hydrangea section of the show. I have limelight trees, and they have been getting very heavy and drooping during the summer. I've had to I've had to tie them back because a huge windstorm uprooted one. When should I prune it, and how far down on the limbs should I go?
Take it now.
Austin.
Take it now, Paige. It's time, and take it far. Take it farther than you think. Okay.
Tomorrow's going to be a great day to do that.
Don't leave little twiggies up that are small and just gonna flop on you next summer. Don't even do it. Take them back down to some nice, healthy, chunky wood. Okay. get them back uniform, make it look perfect. I love pruning limelight trees. I love it.
We know you do.
I need some pictures. I need to talk
Now
to
you
you.
did some pictures on your mom's
she
last
did send
year,
us a
did you
picture, so
not?
I'm going to show it to you.
Yeah, I did, David. I pruned mama's.
And did you not cut those back to about a foot to the crown of where they break out of the main trunk?
Pretty much, yeah.
You want it to be very, very stiff wood down in there. You don't want it to be. You really want to do this with hand pruners or loppers, depending on how big they are, not with shears.
No,
because you want to be cutting into wood that's so heavy. Shears won't really do it. So if you're able to cut it easily with head shears, you're not cutting it heavy enough. It needs to go back deep. It's going to flower on this year's wood anyway.
Yeah.
So you might even take the opportunity to go in there and thin it a little bit.
yes.
You can do that.
And I'm actually
all that really serves is to really increase the number of terminal breaks that come out of those branches. That will reduce the amount of weight on those long limbs that would be there otherwise, and that will keep it from flopping nearly as severely.
Yeah, and I'm actually looking at the picture of your tree right now, Paige, and it's a little wonky. Not gonna lie to you, that's the word.
She did say
Wonky.
it was uprooted a little bit.
It's wonky a little, so we need to get that back in check. Yeah, and like David said, take it way back to the main part of the plant. It's going to shorten the plant, but limelight, you know how big it gets. So take it back far. You'll be fine.
It'll be okay.
It'll be
Cut
okay.
it.
I kind of can't believe you did not talk about cutting it back right at the beginning of spring, because I tried that. So Austin had this whole idea, and he started doing it, of giving it a little prune back right as it starts to... You talk about it, because I did it, and my limelight hydrangeas, which would normally droop over, stayed upright and gorgeous, bloomed a little bit later. They were smaller, they were tighter, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's my method with limelight now. And really any panicle hydrangea, and like Caroline said, we're going to get them back in check now. So Paige, take that back now, like I talked to you about. Get it nice and balled back up. Whenever it leaves out in the spring and it starts to grow and it's getting a little bit big, cut it again in the spring. You'll get more shoots that come out, smaller blooms, and a little bit later, but they will not flop on you. I'm telling you, it's good practice. I'm telling you,
it's worth it.
You know where?
I want to interject here briefly here. We're going to talk about whether you want to look at limelight hydrangeas or anything else for your garden. We've got it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, including pottery. That's right.
So much.
boy, do we.
32 more pallets yesterday.
So if you need pottery, we either have it already or we're going to have it. And we're still getting more in. So come check that out. Come check out everything we've got. We know everyone is on pins and needles, ready for spring to occur. It's not quite here yet, but we do everything we can to make it as ready as possible. And the Baitstream area that Austin talked about earlier is what we call our connected structure from our front area where Caroline resides a lot of the time in the tropical area next to the checkouts, all the way down through our entire shrub section where you'll see Ryan, on down into the perennials and the annual section. No annuals just yet. We might have a few pansies down there, but
a few left,
what you're going to see is our complete selection of things indoors. So you don't have to be out in the cold. You can be in the comparatively controlled environment, and we'll be there to help you every step of the way. Maybe you're not ready to buy stuff today. That's okay. This is a great time to do your planning. Take photographs on your smartphone or your tablet. Bring those along. We'll help you figure out which are the right plants to get in the right place the first time. That saves you money. Just like everything else in life, plants are not getting cheaper. Everything is, so it's really pays you to save money, and you can do that best by planning ahead. So we're going to be here to help you. Come on out and see us. We're open until 2:00 today, which is Saturday in February. So come on out and see us. We're located at 1 mile north of Briley Parkway at exit 19 on Whites Creek Pike. That's just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. No matter where you're coming from, it's worth the drive. So we hope you'll come see us. If you want to get a sampling of what we're all about, I invite you to subscribe to the newsletter. You can do so by just scrolling down the main page, and right there you'll see the newsletter sign up section with a Japanese maple foliage art. Put your name and your email address and click on that you indeed want to receive that. And you'll do so every week. And if you get to the point where you don't want to receive it anymore, you can unsubscribe. We don't share your information with anyone. So we're privileged to have you as a recipient of our newsletter. And we try to give you the best timely gardening information, all the things you need to be thinking about. We try to be right on top of it here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, of which Gardening Inside Out, live from the green room, is just a part of that. So check us out, batesnursery.com. Our entire inventory, by the way, is searchable online. So you can, whatever you're interested in, you can see if we've got it. Our selection is diverse, regardless of the time of year. Check it out at batesnursery.com. So thanks for giving us a moment to talk about that. We've done a lot of work in the season since last spring. So we really feel like you're going to be pleased with some of the changes that we've made and the thing that we could, particularly with regard to parking. Really grateful to have that behind us. Last summer was difficult, to say the least. So we're glad to have that behind. Plenty of spacious parking. Come see us, Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Beautifying Nashville since 1932. That is hard to believe. 92 years.
92.
All right. Speaking of the nursery and the Bates Trium and Ryan, I think it's time for.
I was sorry, guys. Hold on a second. I want to give a shout out. Last week we received a comment from David Norris, watching from Zone 9B, North San Diego County. Thank you for tuning in and watching us. If you got any Zone 9B questions, we can do our best. We're Zone 7A and 7B here, and largely Eastern North America. But there's a lot you can grow over there.
That's cool. California watcher, dig it.
And we covet the plants that you can grow in San Diego, California.
Oh yeah,
pretty much anything.
Oh yeah. And now we can. What's in room with Caroline?
There it is.
Hey.
All right. So Austin had a great idea yesterday to bring stuff into the studio that's starting to leaf out that we have in our Bates Trium, or possibly start to bud and leaf out around town. So I picked these pink lemonade blueberries. They actually look really, really pretty. They're under the TV, a little bit hard to see, but they're going to be right here. I have this blueberry planted at my house, and I can. Tyler. And I can't wait to get some blueberries on it. And then right in the center, under the TV and down in front, we've got a spirea. So it is starting to leaf out, and this one up top is starting to bloom. Ryan brought this especially for us this morning. Hey, now it's our faces back. Hello.
I know. My camera work is astounding.
You're
this
doing
morning.
fantastic, Tyler.
Stella.
These are super cute. Austin, you look like you had something to say about it.
No, I didn't.
You're just blown away by it.
It's Ogon spirea. It's one of Ryan's favorite plants. He told me that the other day. Favorite plant.
Ryan is great. If y'all haven't come out and met Ryan, he usually dwells in the Bates Trium. He's doing all the stuff. He knows where everything is in that covered kind of shade area, you know, in the summer where we keep all that stuff. But he knows he knows what he's talking about. Also, nicest guy you'll ever meet as well. Guy. And then behind me, we've got forsythia, and also behind David. So it's got some little buds on it. It's starting to crack. It's one of the earliest spring bloomers. So we'll start seeing it around town. Yes, very old school, very pretty. Waterfall looking plant. In the corner, we've got some Japanese maple. We do have a question on Japanese maple a little bit later because some are starting to leaf out a little bit around town as our spring has, or late winter has gotten a little bit warm. And then down in front, amongst the hellebore. So right here, we've got a barberry. So Ryan walked me over to the barberry section when I was picking out stuff yesterday, and he was like, Caroline, look at this. All of the green barberry in our Bates Trium area are starting to leaf out, but the red are not. So the green, they've got this gorgeous chartreuse color, and every kind of variety that we have that is green is leafed out or starting to, while the red varieties are
Fascinating.
still staying dormant. And we've had them the same time. A lot of them have been in the Baitstrium since summer. So they've had the same like climate in there. So yeah, that is very interesting that those are starting to leaf out
Golden
now.
Nugget Dwarf Japanese Barber.
Golden Nugget.
Gorgeous.
It's a pretty
Gorgeous.
cute name.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'm not a fan of barberry, but as I look at these right now, I kind of want one. Maybe I'll get one day. And then down in front, we have climbing hydrangea. So it's actually on either side near Josh and then near Austin. Ryan really, really loves this. He says it does great. It clings to stuff. I kind of want one.
I do too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Austin's tried to talk me out of it. As you heard his voice come over the audio and say, ugh.
Ugh.
Climbs multiple feet a year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the least cool of the vine.
You've got the right
Wow.
spot. They're a good choice.
Okay.
They do. I really like how they look, and I might decide to add one to my landscape. And then, of course, we have an abundance of hellebore in here today because we are. I was going to say full at the nursery, but y'all, it is dwindling down. I saw cart after cart flying out of here yesterday of hellebore. I mean, people filling up carts full of them to bring them home. So we still have a lot. We still have a fantastic selection and some that turn up instead of turn down. Just all different kinds. So really come out here and take a look. You can browse your undercover. You know, it might rain a little bit today, but you will be out of the rain and amongst some flowers. And some fun staff that know a lot about plants and want to talk to you about
It's
it.
nice and warm in there, even though the wind's not blowing. Like, uh-oh.
Whoa.
We're gone.
No,
Power went
we're
out.
not.
We're still streaming.
We're still streaming? Okay.
The audio cut out, though.
Just for a second.
Hello, guys.
Only for a second, though. So let's carry on.
Carrying on as we go along.
Oh, hold on.
Okay.
Well, Josh, you and I
Okay.
can carry on.
We can carry on.
Josh, carry on.
Are you the wayward son, David Bates, today?
Well, you know, I have been accused of being worse, Josh.
I understand
So
that. I understand
That is just the way that it is. But we are really grateful to be live from the green room this
Yes.
morning. And we do have backup power
Here.
automatic, thankfully. So if it hasn't fully re-engaged yet, it will shortly.
I heard you should remove stakes from young trees after 2 to 3 years. Is this true? Should I unstake my 3-year-old 10-foot tall apple trees?
Oh yeah, it's time.
Yeah.
Those roots are holding in and holding on just fine without that stake. So yeah, go ahead and remove that. I mean, I don't think it would hurt or anything to keep it, but aesthetically, doesn't look all that great. Move that stake. It's fine.
I'd leave mine for too long.
Yeah, just let me turn it into a pork chop. It's not a steak anymore. Everything's great.
It's not a steak anymore.
Hey, another shout out to a viewer from Marshall, Texas, Andrea Self. And Marshall is in East Texas. And,
All right.
And she moved from Tennessee a couple of years ago and misses us. Hey, you can see us every Saturday morning, most Saturday mornings for a full hour. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so we're glad to have you and see what's going. Spread the word.
Hey, I love me some East Texas. My dad still lives there. I go and see him. East Texas shout out. Love it.
Best part of Texas.
Oh,
by the way.
Texas
I love
is
East Texas.
great. My brother was in Brownsville for a long time. He moved, so I no longer have a reason to go visit. A little bit bummed, but that's okay. Let's talk about English lavender. How to prune English lavender that is large and getting brown in the center. Can I save it?
I would recommend clear cutting that totally. I think I just want a regrowth on lavender. If it starts to look brown, especially in the center and like down close to the base, then it's hard for it to ever like kind of look good again without just like new foliage. So giving that a clear cut to the ground and let new stuff fill in, I think is the way to go on that.
Yeah, my phenomenal lavender is still up and looking pretty good. It's got like this silvery look. When I got home last night, it was the moonlight was
pretty
reflecting on
phenomenal
it.
then, right?
Pretty phenomenal, very romantic looking. All right, we got a question from Miriam. Miriam, if you can hear us right now, good morning.
Hi, Miriam.
When, if
Chime
ever,
in.
do I prune my brown turkey fig? It is about 3 years old and gave me 11 figs last year.
Next year will be bound
Nice.
to
Tell you this too. You got to leave those sticks up. We have to see if it's going to come back from those stems. If it comes back from the stems, you get a bumper crop. If it comes back from the ground after it starts coming up and it doesn't come back from the stems at all, then you can give those sticks a cut. But let's wait and see if they come back from them.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I
Yep.
think I got
I'm thinking there's going to be another year of pretty hard pruning.
On the
But
figs.
again, if you cut it now, you're just guessing.
Yeah.
So need to wait until let it show you where the new growth is coming out, then bring it back to that point.
All right, this is a popular one, but we haven't gotten questions on this in a while.
Okay.
What do I do about holes in my laurel leaves?
The holes in the
The
laurels.
holes in the laurel.
Shot holes.
Shot hole
Cut 'em
fungus. Yes. Yeah, cut them off if you hate them. If you want to really try to treat laurels and the shot hole that they get, then you're going to have to apply fungicides typically in the mid spring, whenever we're kind of wet, rainy or whatever. If you have an irrigation system and it's spreading water above the foliage and it's just kicking it around, don't use laurel. Just don't. It's not going to do well in an irrigated scenario. So if you are going to irrigate, make sure you drip the water to the laurel roots, not splashing their leaves. Whenever you water laurels, do not water their leaves.
Right.
Okay, this is just going to help you not have shot hole near that bad. And then pluck them off if you hate the holes. Once you get them in the landscape and you're not irrigating them overhead anymore, it's usually not that bad of a scenario. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, hello.
Okay.
All right, here's our Japanese maple question.
Okay.
We're ready for it. Are the low temps on Saturday night going to damage my Japanese maple that is just beginning to leaf out?
Oh gosh,
Oh,
probably
That's scary.
is. That
how
is
we
scary.
cover that one? Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna want to cover. I mean, I can't believe it's already starting to want
If they're
to.
I
still,
don't have any leafing out yet, but I'm further
if the
north.
leaf buds are
Still tight.
if the leaf buds are still tight, there's not much chance it's going to do damage to it. I would be really surprised if it really were dangerous with respect to that. It's possible, but a couple of weeks from now, yes, if we're probably not at this point.
Yeah, I just can't even believe that it's already wanting to leaf. Like David said, if it's still in bud and hasn't cracked open yet, then you're fine. But if it has cracked, you might actually see some damage if the
Okay.
leaves have actually. I just can't believe it's already cracking. That doesn't seem. I don't
That's
know.
wild. Maybe it's planted close to a house that was a little bit warm. I don't know.
I don't know.
And it just got to go in. How far do you cut back a pinky winky hydrangea? Peggy wants to know.
That is another panicle style hydrangea, just the same as Limelight. Cut it exactly the same as Limelight. Take it back far, y'all, to some nice, healthy, chunky wood.
Pinky winky.
That's a cute one. I like
Pinky
that
Winky's
one.
great. I really love that cultivar. It is pretty.
I am a fan of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, suggestions for taller shade plants for a small shade garden along a wall.
Hey, I talked about this before with that Sun King Aurelia.
Oh, that
Tyler
one.
even talked about. That's a tall perennial. Comes back from the ground and gets like 5 feet tall by the end of the season. That is an excellent, excellent perennial, y'all. You should try it. Tall garden phlox, if you've got some, good sun. Did they say sun or shade? I kind of forget.
Shade.
Sun?
Oh, shade. Yeah, so the Sun King Aurelia is really, really good for that. There's some taller ferns. What's that? Ostrich fern.
Ostrich fern.
Always
Ostrich fern
cool.
is great, but you just have me thinking about that Sun King Aurelia.
It's so
I
good,
forgot I
y'all.
planted 2 last year, and now I can't wait for them to come up.
Yeah, it's so good.
But I mean, that gets so huge that if it's not a huge space, that's all you're going to need.
yeah, I mean, it really is.
Like,
It
how
fills
big
in that
does
whole
your
space.
get? Like-
seriously, like 5 feet tall, like 3 to 4 feet wide.
Yeah, you took a picture of one of your little cuties next to it, and it was way bigger than her.
Oh,
so
yeah.
much larger than like a 2 to 3 year old, I would say.
Yeah, and from the ground.
Guys, I
From
want
the
to jump
ground.
in quickly here.
Okay.
Our friend Nancy Coop
Yes.
sent an image in that we're unfortunately not going to be able to get on today. We'll discuss
might be
that
able
next
to.
week, Nancy, if you're listening. So, because we've had some technical difficulties due to power outage. So there is that. So stay tuned next week for that.
Absolutely.
Cool. And hey, before we go, I got to give a shout out to Mama. It's your birthday tomorrow, Mama. Love
Happy
you.
birthday, Sue.
I'm buying you a
Yeah.
tree today. You know it.
Oh.
We're going to see what it is.
Oh, man. I
She's
bet it's
getting
going to be a
something fancy.
good one.
Crossline?
No.
That's not a tree, Josh.
I'll get a tree with a clematis on the side. How about
okay.
that?
No, I was
There
about
you
to say
go.
a tree and a crossfire.
Love you, Mama.
All right, if
Oh,
we're
happy
back and
birthday.
hey, folks,
We are back.
We are back. Hey.
Just in time for the end.
Finest 20 minutes that we have ever done on the Gardening Inside Out program. So, I mean, unfortunately, we did have a power surge or outage, and Tyler got us back up just in time for us to have to get out of here. But as David
That was
said,
insane. Doesn't
we
happen.
will, if we didn't get your question answered this week, we will next Saturday. Because guess what? We're going to
Absolutely.
come back, and we're going to be in the Green Room Studios here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Everybody be safe out there, and join us next Saturday morning for Gardening Inside Out.